Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jaya Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Polo Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Jaya Radha Radhanata Radha Radhanata Shri Radhe Radha Radhanata Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Could I have some water, please? Reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Madhya Lila, Chapter 13. The ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Ratha Yatra. So, we were giving the class in Cape Town on Sunday, and there were about 200 people there. And of course, many of them have never heard of Lord Chaitanya. And this is the situation in India as well. One Maharaj was speaking, and he was saying of the 1.4 billion people in India, very, very few of them actually have any information about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these translations and commentaries given by Srila Prabhupada are so wonderful and so beneficial to all of us fallen souls, so that we can understand the kindness and mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, but who has come in his most kind and loving and merciful incarnation as Lord Chaitanya, to teach what no one else has ever given, pure love of Krishna, an ecstatic love for Krishna, spontaneous love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya has brought the wonderful gift, and he's displaying his wonderful pastimes of dancing at the Rath Yatra festival. So we're also going to be having a wonderful Rath Yatra festival coming up just in a few days. So we can learn from the Lord how to organize kirtan for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath. Chapter 13. The summary of this chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya as follows. After bathing early in the morning, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw the deities, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, get aboard their 3 cars. This function is called Pandu Vijaya. At that time, King Prataparudra took a broom with a golden handle and began to cleanse the road. Lord Jagannath took permission from the goddess of fortune and then started in the car for the Gundicha temple. An interesting point that Lord Jagannath, he's spent the last 15 days with the goddess of fortune, but still, as a dutiful husband, he's taken permission from the goddess of fortune and then started in the car for the Gundicha temple. Thank you. Which is the previous chapter, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. So that's also a wonderful pastime, which I'm sure was dealt with. The road to the temple led along a broad sandy beach, and on both sides of the road were residential quarters, houses, and gardens. Along that road, the servants called Gaudas began to pull the cars. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu divided his Sankirtan party into 7 divisions, with 2 mridangas in each division. There were altogether 14 mridangas. 14 mridangas must have been quite a sound. While performing kirtan, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited various symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, and Jagannath and Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu exchanged their feelings very blissfully. When the cars reached the palace known as Balagandi, the devotees offered the deities simple food. At this time, in a nearby garden, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees took a brief rest from the dancing. Text 1. Sri Tiyat Krishna Chaitanya Sri Ratergra Nanartaya Yena Sid Jagatam Chitram Jagannatopi Vismrita. Translation. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who danced in front of the car of Sri Jagannath, be all glorified. By seeing his dancing, not only was the whole universe held in wonder, but Lord Jagannath himself became very much astonished. Jai Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Shrota Gana Shuna Kari Ekamana Ratha Yatra Nitra Prabhura Parama Mohana. All glories to the listeners of Sri Caitanya Charitamrta. Please hear the description of the dancing of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu at the Ratha Yatra festival. His dancing is very enchanting. Please hear of it with great attention. Aradina Mahaprabhu Hana Savadana Ratre Uti Gana Sange Kaila Pratashnana. The next day, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates got up in the dark and attentively took their early morning baths. Pandu Vijaya Deki Bare Karila Gamana Jagannath Ratha Yatra Kaila Chari Singhasana. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates then went to see their ceremony of Pandu Vijaya. During this ceremony, Lord Jagannath leaves his throne and gets up onto the car. Apane Prataparuja Lana Patragana Mahaprabhura Gane Karaya Vijaya Darshana. King Prataparuja in person, as well as his entourage, allowed the Pandava Vijaya ceremony to be seen by all the associates of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So this was a special consideration. Not always are people allowed into the close proximity of the Lord in order to view his ascending to his cart. But the king, being a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, allowed Lord Chaitanya and all of his associates entrance in order to see that wonderful pastime. So he was a proper government official. Advaita Nitai Adi Sangye Bhaktagana Sukhe Mahaprabhur Deke Ishara Gamana. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his prominent devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, and others, were very happy to observe how Lord Jagannath began the Ratha Yatra. Balista Daita Gana Yena Matahati Jagannath Vijaya Kari Hatahati. The very strongly built Daitas, carriers of the Jagannath deity, were as powerful as drunken elephants. They manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to the car. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Daita refers to one who has received the mercy of the Lord. Lord Jagannath has a number of stalwart servants known as Daitas. These servants do not come from very high caste families, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, or Vaishyas, but because they are engaged in the service of the Lord, they have been elevated to a respected position. Thus they are known as Daitas. These servants of Lord Jagannath take care of the Lord from the day of the Snana Yatra up to the time the Lord is carried from the throne to the Ratha Yatra car. In the Kshetra Mahatmya, these Daitas are said to come from the Shabaras, a caste that keeps and sells pigs. However, among the Daitas there are also many who come from the Brahmin caste. Those Daitas coming from the Brahmin families are called Daitapatis, or leaders of the Daitas. The Daitapatis offers foods such as sweetmeats to Lord Jagannath during the Anavasara, the resting period after Snana Yatra. They also make the early morning offerings of sweetmeats daily. It is said that during the Anavasara, Lord Jagannath suffers from fever, and that the Daitapatis offer him an infusion of drugs represented by fruit juice. It is said that in the beginning, Lord Jagannath was worshipped by the Shabaras and was known as the deity Nila Madhava. Later, when the deity was established in the temple, the Lord became known as Jagannath. because the deities were taken from the Shabaras, all the Shabara devotees were elevated to the position of Daitas. So there's a wonderful drama composed by His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Jagannath Priyanatakam, in which he goes into details. He's composed it as a drama with different characters, and it goes into explaining how King Indrajumna had wanted to see the most beautiful form of the Lord. And one of his servants went out to find that beautiful deity who became known as Lila Madhava, who was in the care of the Shabaras. So it's a very wonderful story how Lord Nila Madhava actually allowed this person to worship him very wonderfully, and all of the Shabaras. But when he was discovered by the servant of King Indrajumna, eventually he disappeared. And at that time he announced, or it was announced, that he would make his appearance again in the form ultimately of Lord Jagannath. And that large trunks of wood, of trees, would be found floating in the ocean, and that they should be carved by Vishvakarma to the forms of the deities of Lord Jagannath. So Indrajumna was very anxious to see that form, but he was instructed by Vishvakarma that you don't disturb, you don't break in while I'm carving, you leave me to do my job. So after some time, when the carving stopped, King Indrajumna was so impatient that he broke into the room where the deities were being carved. And Vishvakarma was gone. And the deities appeared to be unfinished. So he was greatly disturbed. But then Narada Muni appeared. Narada Muni appeared and he said, no, actually, these forms are complete. These are the ecstatic forms of the Lord, and that they can be installed. So it's a wonderful drama. And as mentioned here, the deities are being carried to the cart. But they're not being carried. They're too heavy to carry. It's like me carrying Ravindra Sarup. It's not going to happen. They have to be hopped. They have to be hopped. Even though these devotees, these Shabaras, these Daitas, are very strong and stout, still they can only bump the Lord up the cart, up onto different pillows. And we'll read, and they were pulled with silken ropes as well. Kataka Daita Kare Skanda Alambana Kataka Daita Dare Sri Padma Charana. While carrying the deity of Lord Jagannath, some of the Daitas took hold of the shoulders of the Lord, and some caught his lotus feet. Kati tate badadrida stula patadori dui dike daita gana utaya dhahadari. The Lord Jagannath deity was bound at the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the Daitas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Uchadrida tuli saba pata stane stane eka tuli haite twaraya ara tule te ane. Strong, puffed-up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath was carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the Daitas. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki, Giriraj Govardhan, Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Prabhu Padagate Tuli Aya Kanda Kanda Tula Shaba Udiyaya Shabahaya Prachanda. While the Daitas carried the heavy Jagannath deity from one pad to the next, some of the pads broke and the cotton contents floated in the air. When they broke, they made a heavy cracking sound. So again, the Lord couldn't be carried, just carried. He had to be hopped. And when he was hopped onto the pads would burst and make a cracking sound. So it's quite an interesting experience, complete with the sight of Lord Jagannath and the sounds of these pads cracking. Vishwambara Jagannate Ke Chalaita Pare Apane Ichchaya Chale Karite Vihare. Lord Jagannath is the maintainer of the whole universe. Who can carry him from one place to another? The Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. So this fact we will witness later on. The carts are being pulled, and with all the devotees pulling, suddenly the Lord decides to stop the procession and no one can move him. So we're thinking that we're in control and that we're doing things, we're the doer, but ultimately everything is going on, especially the Lord's transcendental pastimes are going on simply by his permission. Mahaprabhu Mahima Manima Karedwani Nana Vadya Kolahale Kichu Nashoni. While the Lord was transported from the throne to the car, tumultuous sounds were made on various musical instruments. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting, Mani Ma, Mani Ma, but he could not be heard. So you'll notice this in India. A lot of times if devotees go to a temple, Gaudiya Math temple or other temples, during the arti ceremonies, you can't hear the singing. You can't hear it. It's just banging and clanging. They've got gongs and bells and various cartels and drums, but they're all being resounded simultaneously in a great cacophony, and you can hardly hear any of the words for a song. So at this time also, all various musical instruments, horns and everything else, were being sounded, and Lord Chaitanya was respectfully greeting. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions the word Mani Ma is used to address a respectable person in Orissa. Lord Jagannath was being respectfully addressed by Sri Caitanya in this way, but no one could hear. Tabe prataparudra kari apane sevana suvarna manjari lana kari pata samarjana. While the Lord was being carried from the throne to the car, King Prataparudra personally engaged in the Lord's service by cleansing the road with a broom that had a golden handle. So we try to imitate by having the broom sprayed with gold paint, but not exactly the same thing. Srila Prabhupada is also giving the example. One time a newspaper reporter was criticizing Srila Prabhupada that we're supposed to be mendicants, we're supposed to be holy people, but I see you're riding in a Rolls Royce. You're riding in a Rolls Royce. So Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned that as the as the servant of the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master should be offered respect on the level of the Supreme Lord. And he said, God rides in a golden car. A car made of gold. Solid gold car. He said, what is a Rolls Royce? It is just some tin and some rubber and glass. What is this Rolls Royce? It is not sufficient. It is not sufficient. So it's a fact. You can pay a couple of million rands for a Rolls Royce, but it's not made of gold. It's just made of tin and cheap metals and plastics like that. So Prabhupada made that point to that newspaper reporter, that this Rolls Royce is nothing. It's nothing. It's not sufficient. Not sufficient. So he counteracted this newspaper reporter's criticism by saying that actually it wasn't even acceptable. Chandana jale te kare patani se chane tucha seva kari vasi raja singhasane. The king sprinkled the road with sandalwood scented water. Although he was the owner of the royal throne, he engaged in menial service for the sake of Lord Jagannath. So hopefully we'll have some government officials also who will come and serve, render some service to Lord Jagannath by sweeping the road and sprinkling sandalwood scented water. It shows that actually they have some understanding that they are simply the servants of the Supreme. Though generally that's not the case. Especially in Kali Yuga. We're reading the 12th canto in our personal readings. And Sukadeva Goswami is describing all the lines of kings. All these personalities. It begins, actually. It begins when one of the ministers of a king assassinates the king and then takes over, puts his son on the throne, and that's how, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, the kingly order was disturbed, and then gradually it became Shudras and worse, Sudras and Malechas, who took over the ruling of kingdoms. So Sukadeva Goswami is describing all these lines of kings that go on for many, many generations, and how they were all simply rogues and thieves, as sometimes we can see. Uttamahana Raja Kari Tucha Sevana Ataeva Jagannatera Kripara Vajana. Although the king was the most exalted, respectable person, still he accepted menial service from the Lord, for the Lord. He therefore became a suitable candidate for receiving the Lord's mercy. One of the most important points mentioned here, because we know that Maharaj Prataparudra, he was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya, seeing him as simply a king, a pounds and shilling man, the Lord refused to meet him, refused to offer him an audience. But by his simple service here, he's attracting the Lord's mercy. Mahaprabhu Shuka Paila Se Seva Dekite Mahaprabhura Kripa Haile Se Seva Haite. Upon seeing the king engaged in such menial service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. So now Srila Prabhupada will give a purport. Unless one receives the mercy of the Lord, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead or engage in his devotional service. Atapite deva padambujadvaya Prasada lesha nugrahita evahi. Janati tatvam bhagavan mahimno. Dachanya ekopi charam vichinvan. Bhagavatam 10:14-29. A devotee who has received even a small fraction of the mercy of the Lord can understand him. Others may engage in theoretical speculation to understand the Lord, but they cannot know anything about him. Although Maharaj Prataparuja was very eager to see Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord refused to see him. But when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw the king engaged in menial service for Lord Jagannath, he became very happy. Thus the king became eligible to receive Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. If a devotee accepts Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu as the universal guru and Lord Jagannath as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he is benefited by the combined mercy of Krishna and Guru. That is stated by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his instructions to Rupa Goswami, Madhya, lila 19:151. Brahmanda Brahmite, Kon Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. The seed of devotional service fructifies and becomes a transcendental creeper. Finally, it reaches the lotus feet of the Lord in the spiritual sky. This seed is obtained by the mercy of the Lord and the Guru. By the Lord's mercy, one gets the association of a bona fide Guru, and by the mercy of the Guru, one gets a chance to render devotional service. Devotional service, the science of Bhakti Yoga, carries one from this material world to the spiritual world. So this is a fact, and many devotees can agree that while they're previous to becoming acquainted with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, different personalities were struggling in this material world. We were struggling like anything. We were suffering like anything. And if we had some piety, then we prayed to God that if there is a God, can you please show me how I can come closer to you? And practically to a person, very soon after that, devotees or these personalities, ourselves, came into contact with a devotee of the Lord. There's one very interesting story about one devotee who was praying like that. He was sitting on the street or something, and he prayed with his eyes shut and tight. He was making a prayer, and as soon as he opened his eyes, there was a devotee standing in front of him with a Back to Godhead magazine. So it happens sometimes not so quickly as that. But I think all of us in our own experiences, we had some sincere prayer to the Lord, and the Lord heard that prayer, and very soon afterwards, the opportunity to come into contact with the Lord's servants became available. And if we were fortunate enough to take that opportunity, then it led on to our coming to Krishna consciousness and to service of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. So it's practically experienced. Ratera sajane deki loke chamatkara navahe maya rata sumera akara. Everyone was astonished to see the decorations on the Rath Yatra car. The car appeared to be newly made of gold, and it was as high as Mount Sumeru. Purport. In the year 1973, there was a gorgeous Rath Yatra festival in London, England. We have a member of London, England here. And the car was brought to Trafalgar Square. The London daily newspaper, The Guardian, published a front-page photo caption, quote, ISKCON Rath Yatra is rival to the Nelson Column in Trafalgar Square, unquote. The Nelson Column is a very impressive statue of Lord Nelson and can be seen from a good distance. Just as the residents of Puri compared the Rath Yatra car to Mount Sumeru, the residents of London considered the car rival to the Nelson Monument. So to this day, the devotees have Rath Yatra from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square. And it's a wonderful procession. When I attended in 1976, usually the procession proceeds very carefully, but we were being pushed. We were being pushed by the Metropolitan Police because on the same day there was another march by the National Front. The National Front, which was a bunch of communist and anarchist group. So they wanted us to move our festival so that they could deal with another group of crowds. The very unsavory National Front. Shata Shata Sukuma Chamara Darpane Ujwala Apare Pataka Shobhe Chandoya Nirmala. The decorations included bright mirrors and hundreds of chamaras, white whisks made of yak tails. On top of the car were a neat and clean canopy and a very beautiful flag. Gagara Kinkini Baje Gantara Kvanita Nanak Chitra Patra Vastre Rata Vibhushita. The car was also decorated with silken cloth and various pictures. Many brass bells, gongs, and ankle bells rang. Lilaya Chadila Ishwara Ratera Upara Ari Dui Rata Chade Subhadra Haladara. For the pastimes of the Rath Yatra ceremony, Lord Jagannath got aboard one car, and his sister Subhadra and elder brother Balaram got aboard two other cars. Panchadasa Dina Ishwara Mahalakshmi Lana Tanre Sange Krida Kaila Nibrete Vashiya. For 15 days the Lord had remained in a secluded place with the Supreme Goddess of Fortune and had performed his pastimes with her. Purport. The 15-day period of Anavasara is also called Nibrita in honor of the solitary place where the Supreme Goddess of Fortune lives. After living there a fortnight, Lord Jagannath took permission from the Goddess of Fortune to leave. Tanhara Samatilana Bhakte Sukadite Rate Chadi Bahira Haila Vihara Karite. Having taken permission from the Goddess of Fortune, the Lord came out to ride on the Rath car and perform his pastimes for the pleasure of the devotees. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments, that as an ideal husband, Lord Jagannath remained 15 days in a secluded place with his wife, the supreme goddess of fortune. Nonetheless, the Lord wanted to come out of seclusion to give happiness to his devotees. The Lord enjoys himself in two ways, known as Swakhiya and Parakhiya. The Lord's conjugal love in the Swakhiya rasa relates to the regata principles observed in Dwarka, where the Lord has many married queens. But in Vrindavan, the conjugal love of the Lord is not with his married wives, but with his girlfriends, the gopis. Conjugal love with the gopis is called Parakhiya rasa. Lord Jagannath leaves the secluded place where he enjoys the company of the supreme goddess of fortune in Swakhiya rasa, and he goes to Vrindavan where he enjoys the Parakhiya rasa. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore reminds us that the Lord's pleasure in Parakhiya rasa is superior to his pleasure in Swakhiya rasa. In the material world, Parakhiya rasa, or loving affairs with unmarried girlfriends, is the most degraded relationship. But in the spiritual world, this type of loving affair is considered the supreme enjoyment. In the material world, everything is but a reflection of the spiritual world, and that reflection is perverted. We cannot understand the affairs of the spiritual world on the basis of our experience in the material world. The Lord's pastimes with the gopis are therefore misunderstood by mundane scholars and word wranglers. The Parakhiya rasa of the spiritual world should not be discussed except by one who is very advanced in pure devotional service. The Parakhiya rasa in the spiritual world and that in the material world are not comparable. The former is like gold and the latter is like iron. Because the difference between the two is so great, they cannot actually be compared. However, just as a knowledgeable person can easily distinguish gold from iron, one who has the proper realization can easily distinguish the transcendental activities of the spiritual world from material activities. So, this is a very important point. You can go to American Swiss or Galaxy Jewelers, and they'll have some diamond rings and some gold earrings there. But it's just steel with gold plate. It may look nice for a little while, not for very long even, as the ladies do know, that it won't last very long. It looks nice for a little while, but then it shows its real nature, its steel or iron nature. Whereas real gold, that's something different. 18 karat, 24 karat. Then you have to pay for it. It is not cheap. You have to expend. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta are making the distinction between materialistic activities and spiritual ones. Activities that are based on sense gratification and activities that are based on pure love of God. And therefore Lord Chaitanya, he came particularly to display this spontaneous, pure, loving service to God. And therefore he is the guru of the entire world, entire universe. Shukshma Sweta Balu Pate Pulunera Sama Dui Diki Tota Saba Yena Brindavana. The fine white sands spread all over the path resembled the bank of the Jamuna, and the small gardens on both sides looked just like those in Vrindavan. Rate chadi Jagannatha karila gamana dui parshve deki chale anandita mana. As Lord Jagannath rode in his car and saw the beauty on both sides, his mind was filled with pleasure. Gauda Shaba Ratatane Kariya Ananda Shane Shigra Chale Rata Shane Chalamanda. The pullers of the car were known as Gaudas, and they pulled with great pleasure. However, the car sometimes went very fast and sometimes very slow. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj mentioned, I think it was this 1973 Rath Yatra, that the Rath Yatra doesn't have a motor. It doesn't have an engine. It is propelled, it's pulled by the ropes with the devotees pulling. But at this particular time, it didn't have brakes. It didn't have brakes either. It doesn't have a motor, it didn't have brakes. I hope and pray that there were some devotees with ropes at the back pulling. But one of the policemen at the time, because London is pretty flat, but it's not fully flat. There's some hills there too. So going down one of these hills, the cart was picking up speed. And one of the policemen was noticing that it's picking up some acceleration here. And he was concerned, so he went and addressed one of the devotees with some concern. Who's in charge here? Who's in charge here? One of the excuse me, I'm sorry. One of the devotees said, Krishna's in charge. Krishna's in charge. And actually, Krishna is in charge. But we should also make some arrangements for brakes on the car, which we do have. We were in Port Elizabeth a few years ago, and the Rath Yatra Festival was going on, and Port Elizabeth is not a big city. And the devotees were there, but it was not that many, a few hundred devotees. And the cart route was up this kind of not very steep, but long incline up to the Scout Hall where the festival was going to take place. But because there wasn't so many devotees, and as you get onto the physics of acceleration on a slight incline are pretty drastic as well. So as we were pulling the cart, us old guys and some old ladies, it was getting to the point where the cart wasn't moving. So we had to ask the kirtan devotees to also help pull because we weren't making any progress. So that was an interesting situation as well. So we always, of course in Durban we don't really have a problem with enough people pulling the carts. There's always plenty. Tabe Mahaprabhu Sabha Lana Bhaktagana Swahaste Paraila Sabe Malya Chandana. As the car stood still, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gathered all his devotees and with his own hands decorated them with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. Paramananda Puri Arabharati Brahmananda Sri Haste Chandana Pana Badila Ananda. Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati were both personally given garlands and sandalwood pulp from the very hands of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This increased their transcendental pleasure. Advaita Acharya Ara Prabhu Nityananda Sri Hasta Sparshe Dunhara Haila Ananda. Similarly, when Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu felt the touch of the transcendental hand of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very pleased. So this is the good fortune of the devotees who take on the worship of the Lord as pujaris. They get to actually touch the features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they're very fortunate in that regard. Other devotees, when the deities come out for abhishek, maybe sometimes they're also given the opportunity. But to get the occasion for touching the Lord and massaging the Lord is a very great benediction. Kirtaniya Ganadila Maya Chandana Sarupa Srivasayan Mukhya Duijana. The Lord also gave garlands and sandalwood pulp to the performers of Sankirtan. The two chief performers were Sarup Damodar and Srivas Thakur. I'll just read the translations now. There were altogether 4 parties of kirtan performers, comprising 24 chanters. In each party there were also 2 mridanga players, making an additional 8 persons. When the 4 parties were formed, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, after some consideration, divided the chanters. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, and Vakreshwara Pandit to dance in each of the 4 respective parties. So this is something His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami understands very well, that you don't just need singers, you need dancers. You need people. It's called chanting, dancing, and feasting. So we do the chanting pretty well, but we need more of the dancers, and now we're getting some nice participation by the young African girls and boys. So we expect to see you going for it during the parade. Okay? Is that all right? Say yes? Yes? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, he commissioned. And we have here Advaita Acharya. How old is Advaita Acharya, Maharaj, at this time? He was already 55 when Lord Chaitanya appeared, and he's in his 20s now. So Advaita Acharya is in his 70s, pushing 80, and he's one of the dancers. So he's fired up. Doesn't matter how old. So us old guys also have to do. We can fix up some of our mechanical problems, then we should also be out there. So Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, and Vakreshwara Pandit to dance in each of the 4 respective parties. Sarup Damodar was chosen as the leader of the first party and was given 5 assistants to respond to his chanting. So you had a lead singer, and then you had persons who would follow, who would chant according to the leader of the party. The 5 who responded to the singing of Sarup Damodar were Damodar Pandit, Narayan, Govinda Datta, Raghava Pandit, and Sri Govinda Nandana. Advaita Acharya Prabhu was ordered to dance in the first group. The Lord then formed another group with Srivas Thakur as the chief man. Purport. In the first group, Damodar Sarup was appointed chief singer, and the responding singers were Damodar Pandit, Narayan, Govinda Dutt, Raghava Pandit, and Govinda Nandana. Sri Advaita Prabhu was appointed as a dancer. The next group was formed, and the chief singer was Srivas Thakur. The 5 singers who responded to the singing of Srivas Thakur were Gangadas, Haridas, Shriman, Shubhananda, and Sri Ram Pandit. Sri Nityananda Prabhu was appointed as a dancer. Another group was formed consisting of Vasudev, Gopinath, and Murari. All these were responsive singers, and Mukunda was the chief singer. Another 2 persons, Sri Kanta and Vallabhasena, joined as responsive singers. In this group, the senior Haridas Thakur, was the dancer. Purport. In the third group, Mukunda was appointed the chief singer. This party was composed of Vasudev, Gopinath, Murari, Srikanta, and Vallabhasena. The senior Haridas Thakur, was the dancer. The Lord formed another group, appointing Govinda Ghosh as leader. In this group, the younger Haridas, Vishnu Das, and Raghava were the responding singers. 2 brothers named Madhava Ghosh and Vasudev Ghosh also joined in this group as responsive singers, but Kreshvara Pandit was the dancer. So those are the 4 groups. There was a Sankirtan party from the village known as Kulina Gram, and Ramananda and Satyaraj were appointed the dancers in this group. So maybe it was a bigger group. They had 2 dancers. There was another party that came from Shantipur and was formed by Advaita Acharya. Achyutananda was the dancer, and the rest of the men were singers. Another party was formed by the people of Kanda. These people were singing in a different place. In that group, Narahari Prabhu and Raghunandana were dancing. 4 parties chanted and danced in front of Lord Jagannath, and on either side was another party, yet another was at the rear. There were altogether 7 parties of Sankirtan, and in each party 2 men were beating drums. Thus 14 drums were being played at once. The sound was tumultuous, and all the devotees became mad. Especially if they're playing together. Sometimes it's not easy to get everybody playing together, but these devotees were. All the Vaishnavas came together like an assembly of clouds. As the devotees chanted the holy names in great ecstasy, tears fell from their eyes like rain. When the Sankirtan resounded, it filled the 3 worlds. Indeed, no one could hear any sounds or musical instruments other than the Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all 7 groups, chanting the holy name, Hari, Hari. Raising his arms, he shouted, "All glories to Lord Jagannath." Lord Jagannath then exhibited another mystic power by performing pastimes simultaneously in all 7 groups. So this is how it's compared to the Rasa dance. The chanting during the Rath Yatra is also compared to Krishna's dancing with the gopis during the Ras Lila, because each and every group thought that Lord Chaitanya was only dancing and singing in their group, whereas actually Lord Chaitanya had manifested a different form in each and every one. Everyone said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in my group. Indeed, he does not go anywhere else. He is bestowing his mercy upon us. Actually, no one could see the inevitable potency of the Lord. Only the most confidential devotees, those in pure, unalloyed devotional service could understand. Lord Jagannath was very much pleased by the Sankirtan, and he brought his car to a standstill just to see the performance. So, we know that Lord Chaitanya has brought the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, as the Yuga Dharma, as the means for achieving perfect self-realization. But not just the japa, but especially in the Sankirtan of the holy names. So the congregational chanting, and therefore we may be chanting here in the temple, but when we take the Sankirtan out onto the streets of Durban in the Rath Yatra festival, then it is the full exhibition of the Lord's mercy towards other people. They get the chance to hear the holy names. They get the chance to see Lord Jagannath. They get a chance to see the devotees. They get the chance to maybe take some prasadam and receive a book on the science of spiritual realization, Krishna consciousness. So it's a very wonderful opportunity for the devotees to become compassionate and merciful to the people of the city of Durban. King Prataparuja was also astonished to see the Sankirtan. He became inactive and was converted to ecstatic love of Krishna. When the king informed Kashi Mishra of the glories of the Lord, Kashi Mishra replied, "O king, your fortune has no limit." The king and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya were both aware of the Lord's activities, but no one else could see the tricks of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So, last verse. Only a person who has received the mercy of the Lord can understand. Without the Lord's mercy, even the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, they cannot understand. One more. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu had been very satisfied to see the king accept the menial service of sweeping the street. And for this humility, the king received the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He could therefore observe the mystery of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. Purport. The mystery of Lord Chaitanya's activities is described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Lord Jagannath was astonished to see the transcendental dancing and chanting of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he stopped his car just to see the dancing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then danced in such a mystical way that he pleased Lord Jagannath. The seer and the dancer were one and the same Supreme Person, but the Lord, being one and many at the same time, was exhibiting variegatedness of his pastimes. This is the meaning behind his mysterious exhibition. By the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the king could understand how the two of them were enjoying each other's activities. Another mysterious exhibition was Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's simultaneous presence in 7 groups. By the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the king could also understand that. Hare Krishna. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Sri Jagannath Rath Yatra Mahotsava ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Haribol. Any comments, questions, points? Hare Krishna. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. So we have an understanding, a slight appreciation of what the Rath Yatra festival was like during Lord Chaitanya's time. And we can try to participate and assist Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra in their pastimes of giving their mercy to all the people here in the city of Durban. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. Hare Bo. Hare Krishna.